In today's video, we're going to have a look at our favorite crypto miner, which is Argo Blockchain. What's the crack, everyone? Welcome back by Wholesale. I hope, of course, you are all well. Yes, this is the first video back in over 8 months. And it's actually the last video that I'm covering out of all our long holes. You could say I'm saving the best for last, perhaps. Argo Blockchain was the last time we covered this, was on December 29th, and you can see here it was saved. Argo Blockchain, the news that we needed. Argo Blockchain was saved pretty much from bankruptcy going bust. It was a sticky time about this time last year, and I'm just going to do a very high level recap of kind of how we got to this stage. We had some very, very good times on Argo Blockchain. We went from a small miner to going into the NASDAQ to open up a huge state-of-the-art facility. Things looked good. We had a CEO in Peter Wall that looked to be steering the ship in the right direction, based on hopes and dreams and smoke and mirrors. And that's really the story. A lot of people got caught up in it, myself included. It looked good, but unfortunately weren't fully backing up what they said they were going to do. But also in their defense, unlike most miners, we went into a bear market. All the indices, everything crashed. We covered it to death on the channel, and Argo Blockchain suffered massively when Bitcoin went off the side of the cliff and was sort of mid-teens. At one stage, it looked like the bankruptcy was coming. Bitcoin's now jumped up, doubled up to about sort of sitting around about a $30,000 mark now. Definitely not out of the woods, but we can kind of survive on these levels. Now, the question you got to ask yourself is Bitcoin going to fall more? We will talk about that, but that is kind of the summary. It got us to this point on our knees. The CEO was trying to do a deal. He made a cock up with the deal. He announced the deal but hadn't signed the papers. It made no sense. Absolutely no sense why he did it. We ended up getting a new deal because when that person came along, the share price had tanked harder than what they agreed, supposedly. So then it became, well, why would I sign up to this and take an instant loss? It makes no sense. I.e., someone comes and goes, you can buy this for $1, but it costs 50p in the store. You're not going to buy it. The deal, unfortunately, meant that the big Helios site that we paid a lot of money for to get set up, we end up having just to give it up and pretty much rent the space in it. You couldn't write this stuff, honestly. That was the thought process there. And needless to say, afterwards, Peter Wall made a sharp exit. Out of his death, perhaps. Who knows? We covered it to death. That's the summary. We're a good 9 months later. For me, because of my hiatus that I had to take, I thought I'd take the opportunity because I've been relentless. I mean, this was ridiculous. There was a lot of time and effort put into doing these videos, and stocks and everything was just... So I really tried to take a step back away from everything to give myself and sanity and stuff, and just, it was forced on me. I thought I'll take the time away. It was good for me to do so. So I stopped looking, just held my positions, didn't bother because they were always going to be there. I started the channel, throwing the net out to stocks that I like the idea of and see who came back and get chatting in groups and different things. After a month or so of doing that, I then settled on 4 stocks to cover properly on the channel. That was Codal Minerals and Primary African Minerals, 2 African miners in the lithium plays. To me, really hot, up and coming commodity, up and coming area for mining. To me, I like that. These are all high risk plays, by the way. I do have safe plays and tells that I just don't like high risk all the time. I've got ETFs, safe plays and stuff like that, but these are my high risk that I wanted to cover on the channel. That was them 2. Then I went with ABML, American Battery Metals, American Battery Technology. As it's changed to all of these have had huge new factories, growing plants, construction, all that, which I'm interested in as well. Another reason why I like these plays, because they all wanted to build something in construction. And again, with my expertise of being a surveyor, the construction, better the devil you know at the end of the day. So ABML, American Miner, lithium, cheap recycling batteries, again, doing really well. All 3 of them have done phenomenally well, and they look like they have a great future. We're about 3 years-ish, nearly 4 years into this 10-year hold, and that was my goal, was to hold all these for 10 years through the thick and thin. Argo Blockchain, actually, ironically, out of all of them, did the best, made some fantastic gains on Argo Blockchain, the rise up to the NASDAQ, getting the Helios site built. So there was really good times. We like the CEO and the engagement. So look, it hasn't always been doom and gloom. It's been very, very good. The issue being is we're in a mess now. That's the God's truth. I sold a heap when it looked like we were really on our knees and PDO and all that mess. I sold half. Got rid of the whole LLC position. Took about, I think at that time, like a 50-60% loss just to get rid of the whole thing. Took what was left and then double down on ARBK to try and bring the average price down. So in my head, I was kind of going, right, well, that's the best that I can do in the situation. The original money's still in there. I mean, it's mostly all house money because of the profits that we'd originally taken. Thankfully, I haven't bought any Argo blockchain in, I don't even know when, well over a year now. I would need to double check it, but I've just been sitting, holding. I'm so down on it, it doesn't even matter. You know, if it swings 10% up or down, it doesn't really make much of a difference to my portfolio size. Bitcoin, bear market, definitely justifies potentially why we've pulled down so much. But it's also being failed to deliver. Hash rate's not been as good. We've not been delivering of much Bitcoin. And the big problem that we've had with the holding of the Bitcoin is that we're having to sell Bitcoin. You know, there was periods of the month where we were selling 2-3 times more Bitcoin than we were mining. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out that when you're spending more than you're making, you end up in trouble. Now, we've done share place arrangements and all this to try and keep funds and keep capital. It really feels like we're just trying to get to the next Bitcoin bull run. We're trying to survive going through this bear market. Now, the issue that I have in terms of the whole market is that I actually think 2024 is when we're going to see the Fed pivot. And when the Fed pivot, historically, is usually when you see stocks pull back and we go into a crash. Now, September, historically, also, if you look at statistics, we'd say that in terms of the NASDAQ, S&P, the actual indices themselves, they are also going through the most difficult month of the year. So there's a lot of negative things right now. But the biggest overarching thing for me is Bitcoin was always seen as the safe haven to all this. That was defunct. That clearly wasn't going to be the case. The last bear market pulled it all down. So if we're going to go into another bear market, Argo will not survive if we go back into the mid-teens that we were at. Even a 30 grand sort of price, I think we're struggling to keep the lights on. It's disappointing, but that is the reality of it. Now, why am I still holding, you ask? Why am I still leaving in the chips that I have? Because of the simple fact that I picked 4. I'm in all 4 through thick and thin. And this just sunk so quick that I just was left holding them, and I went through the bear market. The other 3 I'm up on, and I'm not going to let them go into a bear market. I'm just not going to let it happen. I have been physically through a recession in 08, 09, but I was never in the stock game. That was a long time ago. This time is my first bear market. I'm trying to pull in data and learn from history and reading charts and all this type of thing. And the whole way through it, I kept going, I'll just hold these things, you know, I'll buy and double dip down. And that was my plan. I was going to average down all my long holes. Didn't care if it was 60, 70, 80% down. I was going to double down, bring that price down. But see, when you get to the bottom and you're sitting there and you're looking around going, there's Argo Blockchain, high risk, highly risky to even make it to the next halving and not without going bust. Oh, there's Tesla, that's 50% discount. That was my problem. I went, yeah, no problem buying Argo for the risk, but when there's other things going, like Meta was below $100, that had to be bought. It just had to be bought. You've over doubled your money on that. Or Argo Blockchain. That was my dilemma. So I've learned a lot, and I'm not going to make those mistakes again. But that aside, because I'm like 70% down, YOLO, this could be the greatest comeback of all time. Like, it really, really could be. And it'll be one hell of a good story to tell. We don't know what the next Bitcoin bull run looks like. We don't know what the halving's going to do in April. And when you look at the news articles that are out there, Argo Blockchain reduces debt and overall cost, revenue takes a hit, decline of 31%. Now, if we're going to look at positives, they're starting to streamline things, 143 million down to 75 million in terms of debt. That's killing them. Selling the Bitcoin. You don't want to sell the Bitcoin at these prices, because if you believe Bitcoin's going to go at 100k, it's like, why would you give away over 2/3 of potential profit there? And here is the last August operational data. And again, I could go through all these, but there's no real point. We'll just look at the more recent one. During the month of August, the company mined 105 Bitcoin or Bitcoin equivalents, 3.4 Bitcoin per day, which generated significant power credits that the company expects will more than offset the foregone revenue from the curtailment. Decent enough, I guess. We did know about Helios and the advantages. We covered it in previous videos, so I guess that's a good thing. Although the positives with Helios seems to be almost counteracting. I mean, there's been loads of issues with the weather and extreme heat. That's not an Argo issue. That's like an act of God thing. All the miners have got that issue, and all the miners have the issues with the Bitcoin. So like I said, I do have a slight 30% of me does have a lot of sympathetic ears for Argo Blockchain and the team and all that. But at the same time, bear markets come. What would you do in the worst case scenario? Argo Blockchain didn't do that. They leveraged themselves massively and they got caught well and truly down in the room with their knickers down. As of August 31st, they've held 49 Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin right now is sitting at 26,207, which is about 21,500 £1,000. And if we just bang that in, then you can see 26.7 roughly is about 1.3 million US dollars, which a million quid, like Jesus, what's a million quid? Like honestly, like after all the pain and misery for years, like to have a million quid, shocking. I mean, if you even go to the Argo Blockchain site, back in the day, we used to have articles, news all the time. Now, there was pros and cons to that. But the biggest con being Peter Wall couldn't hold his water, told us all we've got a deal done, and then got caught with his knickers down. So, there is, maybe it's a good thing, but look, the last thing was May. We have the Argo Labs, and we've got our finger in a few pies. So it's all just a bit of hope and dream. Let's have a look anyway at the share prices. Let's see if we can find some sort of positivity in terms of even charting. So we'll go to December 29th from where we were. And if we look where we were, there's your first positive. We are up 158% since then. So yeah, look, if you were buying at dips all the way down, you've been significantly rewarded in the last 267 days. And to be fair, we've just went sideways. And the reason being is that's really where Bitcoin is sitting. We've had a better bounce back than Bitcoin. Bitcoin, again, as you can see, it's just kind of gone sideways here. It's just a question of where Bitcoin will go. So let's have a look at Bitcoin and see what's happening. We've went into a bear market on Bitcoin, which isn't great. Those are in the Discord will know my thoughts on Bitcoin. I'm bullish on it, but I'm not bullish while it's in a bear market. I've learned from those mistakes. A bear market is anything below the 200. Anything over that is a bull run. We were in a bull run for a good while, pretty much most of the year. But I do foresee Bitcoin going into another bull run. I just feel like it will happen. News at any given day could come out and pop this. It doesn't take a lot to pop this. The positive is it is significantly up since the last video, so things have been good. It was a good time. That was hopefully the lows. But again, if that Bitcoin price falls 15, 16,000 again or lower, it will, in my opinion, it will be lights out for Argo Blockchain and the Helios team. Unfortunately, that's just the way that it is. Highly risky. Leave your comments down below. Are you still investing in it? I appreciate this is an extremely high level video. There's maybe been stuff that's been announced 4 months ago that's to come, that's going to save the world. If there's anything like that, leave it down there. Like I said, I've taken the eye off Argo Blockchain. I'm there. I'm going to hold for the sheer laugh. I'm not stupid. If it feels like the doors are going to close, I will pull out what's left. There's still hope. There's still a dream. And I'm not one of them people just to give up on this thing. If Bitcoin somehow went to a bull run, it's going to massively lift Argo Blockchain and all could be right in the world again. Argo's just trying to survive. It's hoping for a bull run. That's fundamentally it. I'd love to get your comments down below. Please like, subscribe, help me grow the channel. And if you're interested in about learning what all these lines mean and when to trade and when to buy, when to top up, RSI, MACDs, trading courses there. We're doing about 80% off at the moment to try and get the thing going again. It's been a long break off. We've had a good few members join there over the last week, join the Discord and stuff. It's good to see you. Welcome on board, guys. Don't forget as well that the lifetime Discord pass is included in that, so it pays for itself. You should just look at some of the comments on the social media pages. Well, can't speak, can't lie. These guys are putting great feedback, great comments out there. I appreciate everyone that does that. I will catch you in the next video, and hopefully it won't be too long until we're back covering Argo Blockchain. Peace.